Welcome to the Forever Cash Life Real Estate Investing Podcast with your hosts, Jack and Michelle Bosch. Together, let's uncover the secrets to building true wealth through real estate and living a purpose-driven life.
The Hall of Fame is something that we have created years and years ago, and we have literally, I don't know how many people, and here's a lot of other people, and here's just a small section of the people in our Hall of Fame. Like Tom Epperson, Dave Netterson, Henry Serrano, Steve Hilbon, Cherry Koningman, Rene Riker, Jay Schwichtenberg, AJ, Gray, AJ, Serge, Jay, Jeff and Darrell, Michelle and Warren, John Montero, Paul, Roman, Hernando, Tom Rain, Nancy, you name it, Teresa Dyer, Rich Strauss, Gary Pendergrass, Scott Belton, Stephen Jansen Young, or Jansen Steve Young, Marguerite Bayer, Joe Horvath, Demary Garber, Christoph Graber, Jeff Rudon, John and Crystal Bridges, Aline Cook, Russell Wilson. And today I want to introduce to you and celebrate with you Mr. and Mrs. or Mrs. and Mr. In Germany, we put the lady first, right? Mr. and Mr. Beth and Bob Probst. So congratulations, Beth and Bob. And I know you're going to be here. I'm just going to quickly introduce you, read off my slide with the notes that I've made. So basically, Beth comes from the banking industry, which for many years, which left her feeling, as in her own words, as she described it to us, more or less empty. Bob is an active attorney for 30 years. Both were looking for something different, something that excited them and freed them from their jobs. 2018, they got into all kinds of real estate, expensive house flipping programs, which to my understanding did not yield any results, right? And then 2019, I believe, they got into our program. Since then, or 2019 or 2020, I'm not entirely sure. And then they since then have done 49 deals and $283,000 since then. So with that said, welcome Beth and Bob, guys. How are you guys doing?
Good. Hey, happy Friday.
Doing great. Friday. Thanks for having us.
Hey, very well. And first of all, congratulations. Do you happen to have your award close by? There we go. Now, there we go. The Land Profit Generator Hall of Fame Award. Congratulations, guys. So, yes, we do. They obviously knew that they're going to get the award because in the virtual sessions we ship it to you guys, right? And so therefore you know you're getting it. But tell us a little bit about you. Give us a little introduction. Tell us who you are and what brought you to the land flipping area, and perhaps a little bit more detail to the bullet points that I just put out there.
Yeah, so we have been together. Do we look like kids? We've been together since we were like 15 and 17. We were high school sweethearts. And this has always worked. We've always been, we're best friends, soulmates. We have the best kids that ever came down to block, as my mom would say. And that always worked. But it was over, as you said, Jack, I've been working in the banking industry. Really felt like you're working lots of hours, you're spending lots of time away from your family, and it did feel empty. Like there was no purpose in it. What am I doing? Knocking my head against the wall. But of course you have to work to pay the bills. And then, Bob, you want to talk a little bit about what you were doing?
Yeah. So I've been practicing law for about 30 years. And, over time, the practice of law has changed just like everything else in life. But about 30 years into it, I just decided we wanted to try something different in addition to our normal careers. And that's when we decided, because we could watch HD TV and see all the house flippers, that certainly we could do that. That wouldn't be a problem at all. So that's sort of how we got started on it.
Right. There's a lot that these house flippers don't tell you about in that industry. So what happened next?
That's correct.
That would have never worked. But the one positive thing, and we spent a lot of money and time, but the one positive thing that came out of that was, to keep educating yourself and learning about things. And so we came across a webinar for Jack. And so that's how we sort of fell into this land. We go, oh, wow, this sounds like this may be something that we actually could do. Because I think we would have killed each other if we actually went into trying to flip a house. We almost got divorced when we wallpapered our room one time by ourselves. And then we learned we hire people, right? So we got into this and we started immediately jumping into things. I think we were sending letters before we even finished, as we were doing the modules through it. And we did have, it was, crazy. It's funny how that those first deals that came in and they weren't, for huge amounts of money, but how that was just validating that the process works and that we could do it. You can learn something new, and it had the possibilities. And that's something that we didn't feel like we had before, about possibilities of changing things in our lives. So that would have been, I guess that was 2019 and early 2019. And then we sort of, did a little bit, and then we got a little bit better last year. We're not like some of the folks that are lickety swick and pick up things very quickly. So it took us a little bit longer. But in this last year, we're starting actually our second round of training, coaching through Jack and Michelle's program, because we feel like you got to constantly be learning and improving. So, and Mike Smyer has been our coach. Great program. It got us where we were. We started again because we want to take it to another level. And I will just say, Michelle and Jack are the real deal. They're incredibly genuine and very generous. I just, for giving us this opportunity to make a difference in our lives and being able to pay it forward for charities and the folks that work on our team. I just can never thank you enough for all that you've done. And this community, you're on here, there's 200 people in this group, but this community of folks that are just so generous with their time and helping you. And it's not like everybody's trying to hide stuff. They're out there. Everybody's trying to make each other successful and better. And that's just, especially in this day and age where everything seems so cutthroat and backstabby, this is just really a wonderful, wonderful community to be part of. So,
yeah, I would add that it is a great community, both the Facebook page and reaching out to anybody that's in it. You'll find people here will be willing to help you in any way that they can, answering questions, providing advice, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But for Beth and I, now we sort of built it. It's gotten to the next level already. And now 2022, our goals are to bring it one more level up, higher notch than that. And I know we'll be able to do it because we've got Jack and his folks on our side. And
the reason you guys joined the second year right now is because we actually just implemented things for a second year. So that's even more advanced kind of trainings and things like that.
Exactly.
that help those who are already successful, already done 49 deals, like to really take that up to not 49, but 490 deals perhaps as the next goal, right? So 10x this. So fantastic, great. So I love. So now you do have a couple of team members, right, that work with you?
We do, and then we were actually right now we're in a hotel room because we're traveled to Boston to see our daughter who's graduating from Brandeis University.
All right,
and so we're here for celebration. Thank you. But that was part of what we did. We had over 2 days, how much driving? I don't even want to say how much driving coming up from North Carolina, but a lot of planning opportunities and talking about all the things that we want to do for next year. And that part of that is growing because it's, that was one of the things I would say to you all as you are thinking about this business and you're starting off and you're getting those first couple deals and you're worried about how much money you're spending out. And that is certainly something to be conscious of. But as you make those deals, I would encourage you to put some of that into investing into resources, because when we hired our first VA, when we started outsourcing things, that's when things took off. You can't do it all yourself. And so you keep adding those resources, and it's amazing how much more you can do and how faster you accelerate with things. So that's we're sort of in that point. We want to add additional folks on, so that we can continue to grow and we want to be more hands off if possible, and look at trying to be creative and strategic and what are the things that we want to do to keep growing our business.
And to be sure, for those people who are on here wondering whether this program works kind of a thing, we have done it where we are now while we still work full-time jobs. Yeah. So it literally is, we started like most of you might do on the nights and weekends, just sort of learning the system and putting it into place. And then the more processes you put into place, the less you have to do and the more it takes off, as Beth was saying.
Right. Now that's a great point. And I'll talk tomorrow about that, of how that process works and how we typically take our team members, our students through that process of getting to that point. Like a lot of our students, it makes sense, like for you guys, it made sense to do a lot of it yourself at the beginning in order to also know and master it and learn it. But then you get fairly quickly, particularly when the deals come in, you get to a point that you're in your own way, right? And that things are slower because you do them than they could be if you have a dedicated resource for it that can do this from somewhere overseas, perhaps at also a fraction of the cost. And and at that point, you start realizing that the only way to scale is to have a team. So you guys have learned that, and that's when things started taking off. It's fantastic. So perhaps let's talk about a couple of the deals that you've done. And I know there's one deal where you literally flipped like a whole bunch of properties at once, right? Tell me about that. That is, by the way, not part of the. Tell me about that one. Yes.
Well, I'll start at the beginning and then you take it. So it's interesting. I would say never turn away a lead. So we had gotten a response from somebody to a county that we had reached out to, and they weren't interested in selling any of the properties they had in that county. They were an investor, but they said, but we got in this other county, we've got, it was like 40 lots in a neighborhood that had not really been much developed. And we're like, well, gee, I don't know much about this. And that was one of the things that having a virtual assistant, prior to that, having a virtual assistant, I don't have the time to look at that. We're just going to make an offer on one. And if they like it, then we'll come back. That's not a good attitude. Don't take that advice.
Yeah, and that's really important. That's because what she's trying to say is that we stepped outside the comfort zone we're in of flipping one property, and going, okay, let's take a look at this. And then we had the use of our VA who could spend the time really researching those 40 plus lots to help us get a better idea of whether we could do it.
Of what we got. And then we just started and we talked with resources through this community and looked at how we might be able, some of the opportunities and how we might be able to price it and resell it. And so we actually partnered with somebody in the LPG community who was actually working that county and had some investors, and we were able to find some, and we purchased it. We paid for $100,000 and we sold it for $265. So that was really nice.
That sounds very nice. See, there we go. That's like, and how much of that in that process? How did you work? I mean, you obviously work in our coaching program, and you worked with Mike. And how much did you rely on Mike to get things done in that end?
Oh, so we absolutely reached out to Mike, and we're just like, oh, Mike, we got this deal and we got this. What do you think? Should we even leap there? And of course, he was like, absolutely, you should do it. And so we said, this is what the research, and again, what our virtual assistant had done for us, and this is what we were thinking. And then he helped us tweak that, and with coming what he thought was a reasonable offer. And so, we made the offer, and the guy took it, and we're like, oh, wow. And so then it was like, okay, got to find a buyer. So, but Mike was certainly part of this great team that you all have been able to connect us with.
Awesome. Fantastic. Great. So now what's the plan for the future, guys?
Well, we want to be able to do some taking some of the cash we're generating. This year has been huge. We've got $218,000 in notes. You were talking about that. We sort of at the end of the year before the break, which is like great. We got this income coming in. It's also got the potential, you think about your longer term horizon, the forever kind of cash. And so our next year, we want to be able to do either buying single family or getting into potentially a syndicate opportunity with doing multi-property type stuff. We want to also do larger deals. So the one that we did with the 40-acre tract, we want to do more of these type of things, because Jack and Michelle, you guys say this all the time, that the amount of effort that you put in doing one deal, it's the same thing. You're just repeating it over and over. So we're trying to, build our comfort zone there, and maybe looking at some commercial property.
It takes as much effort to do a large deal as it does to do a small deal, I guess, kind of a thing. And
that's right.
Interesting talking about Mike. So on the way up here, one of the things we did was call Mike to talk about how we could maybe in 2022, part of our goals could be to cash out some of the $218,000 in notes and go into something that's a forever cash, one of your terms, a forever cash asset that just keeps paying the same amount, sort of a thing. So
right, exactly right. So that's a wonderful way to look at it, because now when you cash out at the higher value, right? You have only $20,000 in it, or $40,000 in it, if that, and you're receiving $200K out of it. Well, what if you can sell that for $200,000? You just turned 40 into 200, and now you turn to 200, and now if you're getting just a 15% return on the 200, you're getting $30,000, which is probably very similar to what you got before. So, but now you have an asset that pays itself, and it goes up in value over time. So yeah, it all makes sense. Like, as I said, we call land flipping is really the entry drug into real estate, and it is fun. You get the chase of the deal, but then over time you realize, hey, there's now I know how to do things, and I'll do even more down the road. Exactly what happened to us, exactly what happened to so many of us. So wonderful. Well, congratulations to your success. Congratulations to your award, and very, very well deserved. And since you are part of our coaching program again, we're going to see you in many of our sessions. So thank you very much. And congratulations, everyone. Big round of applause for Beth and Bob Probst.
And Jack, once again, we say thank you to you and Michelle and all your team for putting this kind of program together that allows you to start with like no knowledge of how to do it, and then move through. If you follow what you're saying and stick to what you're saying and be consistent, to be able to get through and really change both your mindset and just your financial situation, be able to. We've got a lot of great stories of just what we've been able to do with some of the money we've earned to help other people.
Well, tell us. Go. We have a few more minutes, but I know you paid off some debt. We got another 5 minutes or so. I got to look at the agenda. I think we're right on target. We're good.
And I think we were just trying to say to you guys, Jack and Michelle, I mean, we just really very, 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 very appreciative and thankful for everything, these opportunities that you've given to us. And, I think we've helped. One of the cool things besides, benefits that we've had financially, but it's just been a pay it forward kind of piece of it, that we've been able to give more to charities. We had recently with our virtual assistant, we were giving year-end bonuses. But in addition to that, we said, we're going to match the amount that we're giving to you. And we want you to identify charities, and he's in the Philippines, in your community that means something to you. And so as a result of that, I'm going to get weepy thinking about this, but he went out and he and his wife researched this. They're putting on a Christmas, giving Christmas gifts and a celebration to an orphanage in their community. They have a member of their community that's undergoing cancer treatments. And so they're going to give a portion of it to that person. And then they're also going to give it to their church. He does lots of things in the community from a charitable perspective. So, I think that's the other intangible thing, that it just, as a human being, and it's in our soul, that was what our why was really looking for purpose, enjoying our life, because we felt like we didn't have that anymore. And it's just like, wow. Just to keep doing those types of things, have the ability to keep doing that and touching more people. But it all started with you guys. So really, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You guys, you just took it seriously. You guys dare to believe that it's possible. You took action and you made it happen. And now it's not just affecting your life, it's now affecting even lives of people around the world. How beautiful is that? Like, I love that. Thank you very much, man. That's absolutely great. Gives me goosebumps here, because at the end of the day, that's why we do this, because we could be sitting on the beaches of Hawaii right now. We're already going twice a year. This year, we're going to spend 2 months of a year out in Hawaii. We could be having an ocean condo over there, and oceanfront a house or something like over there, and just like stick our feet in the water and just do nothing. But what's the fun in that? I'm only 51. I plan to live another 50 years at least, right? I set my goal to 107. So it's like I can either go and just sit there and vegetate and just like start declining, or I can continue doing things that actually helps people and has a ripple effect around the world. And that's what we do here. So thank you very much. I really, really appreciate that you guys are taking it in such a beautiful direction, in such a beautiful way. You are super deserving of our reward. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend.